Hey, welcome back guys, this is Val. In this video I'm going to do a review of Caribbean Village by Bitwelder. It looks gorgeous. I mean, I'm a big fan of these Caribbean, style of buildings, sceneries, villages, the ocean, palm trees and all that. And just by judging all the images here, it looks absolutely gorgeous, right? And it has plenty of areas to place your camera and characters, and also plenty of camera options because of all the it's quite a large set. Just looking at the images here, which look awesome. A lot of the colors. Alright, looks detailed enough. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load this set into DAZ Studio and just see how it performs. And just quickly, prior to doing that, I'm going to actually show you the package size, which is 293 megabyte compressed, and just look at it, 457 megabytes uncompressed. And looking at the textures in here, I was a little bit concerned about the amount of textures, because when you look at it here, you can see it's 188 textures, right? There's quite a lot to load into a graphic card, because DAZ Studio uses the Iray render engine, and Iray wants everything to load into a graphic card, and if it doesn't, it switches over to CPU rendering instead of using the graphic card, right? So there's a lot of textures in here, and some of them are 4K up to 8K in size, so I was a little bit worried about that. Plus, I find it a little bit awkward that the textures actually have noise in them. The AO maps have noise here, right? So they could have maybe be rendered with a little bit more high quality than that. Let's fire it up inside DAZ Studio. Here we go. So in here you can find in content library, DAZ Studio formats, my DAZ 3D library. Then it's going to be environments, architecture, and Caribbean Village. And you have pretty much one main loading icon. Then you have 20 camera presets. I love these because they enable you to quickly, traverse through the city instead of just looking for your own, camera angles. You can just get a good starting point and then tweak the camera to your needs, right? You got two HDR maps, one afternoon, one midday. Then you have material preset, which is kind of awkward. Why would you need that? Because it loads with the materials, right? You get these area materials here, which is also a little bit awkward because it already loads with area materials. And you got a lot of zero props, which I love. You can add extra stuff to your scene. Table, umbrellas, all kinds of plants, lamps, chairs, and also balcony plans, right? So let's go ahead and load it. Let me pause the video while I'm loading this. There we go. And I want to just use the afternoon preset and turn on NVIDIA Array Preview. And if you take a look at the surfaces here, they are already, as you can see, Iray specific, right? So that's why I kind of find it a little bit awkward that you include these extra texture options, mapping options. Anyway, what's cool about this is, let me just go back to add 69. I'm gonna be using a tool called GPUs, all right, which is an awesome tool that showcases the load of your graphic card. So pretty much it will display whether your graphic card is indeed working or not, and it will immediately show when it's not working and you're using your CPU instead, right? So right now we have GPU load, which means we are indeed using the graphic card, which is awesome. Which means that the prop is quite well optimized, despite having 188, textures, some of them really high resolution. Now, there are, the thing that strikes me, it looks gorgeous, but it looks kind of empty upon loading, right? And all these props that we see in the promo images, they are not really here. They are added through the Z zeroed props, right? So, and I'm kind of lacking an option of loading and populating the scene with some more stuff because it's very, very empty. It looks gorgeous, but it's very empty. And moving the camera around here, we're seeing some nice details on the arty texture here. Looks gorgeous with all these colors, don't you think? Man, that looks awesome. Okay, so the different camera options, camera presets, okay, let's try them out. Work quite well. Now I found an issue with the prop, specifically with one of the camera presets. If I go down here and click on this one, you can see the wall here looks kind of awkward, right? And if I go a little bit closer to it, if I zoom in and get closer, it looks completely destroyed and almost pixelated. It's like kind of like a JPEG artifact, which looks very, very odd. Some kind of low texture, variance here at the bottom as well, which is kind of odd for a prop like this because it looks so great with the other textures supplied, like the ground looks amazing, right? But then the wall here has some kind of, I don't know if it's an error or some kind of low-res thing. But then again, if you change to a different type of light preset, you kind of get away with it and you don't see it as much. It's kind of like non-existent right now. So something odd is going on there, right? But I mean, the prop itself is looking gorgeous, right? I love all these structures. I love the water surrounding here, the palm trees. I mean, this is just made for romantic, beautiful renders, right? Just look at this. I mean, this is really awesome looking. Now, a few things. Very bright looking, gorgeous colors. Now, a few things to consider here is that, let's say I go into the midtown section, is the choice of lighting. And, I'm a huge fan of lighting, if you know me, right? And one of the presets called Afternoon looks great because it's kind of low, create beautiful light effects and so forth. And also it comes at a good angle. What I mean with that, if you go into here, you can see that it's kind of 45 degrees. So it casts beautiful shadows and makes things look interesting, right? Even in here, it makes things look very interesting and fun. Now, the issue I'm having is if I go now, let's say, let me zoom out. If I go and select the other preset, which is the daytime, then the lighting kind of starts to hit the scene at a weird angle. And I would not recommend to light a scene at this awkward angle because it's almost like 180 degrees, right? You want to have the lighting a little bit turned, so I would turn this the other way, kind of add a little more degrees to it. It's not a huge thing. You can obviously rotate it. It's an HDR map, right? So you can go ahead and rotate it and find a golden angle, like so, that has a little bit more angle to it. That just makes structure look different, and and all that. And I just find it a little bit awkward to have that kind of angle, but it's easy to fix. And so besides a few errors here and there with the textures, it looks awesome. I would love to have more options that preload all these props in different locations, like populate the center, populate this area, because it's very, very empty. But for the price, it looks really good. renders quickly, looks kick-ass, love the colors and all that. So it's a great prop, offers great, variety for camera options. You got so many camera options here. Just go back to the scene here. You got so many camera options. That's almost ridiculous. Right? You can just spend an afternoon and just, selecting different cameras. So guys, that's pretty much it. Great prop, a few small errors. Looks a bit empty, but you can load your own props to it. So that's all for me, guys. Have fun. If you want to check this out, click on the link below, comment below. Love to hear from you. See you soon again.